point, it is my privilege to introduce Senior Rabbinical School student David Baum.
Thank you, Ethan. I welcome everyone here, family and friends, who have come from near and far, and from those watching at home. In particular, I welcome our guests from Jewish Theological Seminary to our synagogue. All of you have been my teachers, and it's an honor to repay you by teaching you today. A week ago, I led a Friday night service at the University of Florida, and had an experience of connection. Instead of sitting in a semicircle or in pews, we sat in a circle. I didn't plan this out. It just happened to have been set up that way when I got there. In this setup, I noticed some things for the first time. I saw that everyone was equal, and everyone was forced to stare at each other. I'll be honest, it was awkward. People tried not to look at each other, and afterward, one of the students came up to me, and he told me that the service was weird. I asked him why he thought so, and he couldn't explain it. I told him I think I knew why he felt this way. Looking someone in the eye is awkward, or weird, as he put it. Because there's something divine, there's something awesome in looking someone in the eye. Turn to the person next to you and look them in the eye. Did you crack a smile? We smile because we are nervous. And we are nervous because when we look someone in the eye, we're looking at a mirror. We see a part of ourselves in our fellow humans, and we also see a reflection of God. In this week's Torah reading, Toledot, we meet twin brothers who famously do not get along. Our teachers try to show us, in almost counterintuitive ways, that Yaakov is the hero and Esav is the villain. But how can Yaakov be the hero if he takes advantage of Esav's hunger and buys the birthright from him? A 19th century biblical commentator, the Baum, goes through this passage and textually proves that Yaakov did not sin because Esav did not want the birthright to begin with. Not only that, but Esav desecrated the birthright, and he was happy when Yaakov took it from him. In other words, Yaakov did not steal the birthright. He didn't even fool Esav. He just took what was given to him without prodding. This commentary has a solid textual basis, using vowels and vowels to prove its point. But it is contradictory to the explicit meaning, the pshat of the text. Later in the story, in Genesis 33:4, when Esav and Yaakov see each other after Yaakov's self-imposed exile, Esav puts his pain and anger aside and cries on his brother's shoulder. The scene is beautiful and shows Esav's compassion and the true sense of the term, forgiveness is divine. But what do the rabbis do? In Bereshit Rabbah, Rabbi Yanai says that Esav tried to bite Yaakov's neck when he reunites with him, because there are dots over the word, and he kissed him, v'yishakehu, in the Torah. I can list quotes from Midrashim defaming Esav, saying that he was guilty of rape, that he tore his mother's uterus so she could not mother the 12 tribes. The list goes on. These interpretations may have textual basis, some of them better than others, but as we read the Torah from a pshat level, the explicit meaning, especially Genesis 33, can we say that the intention of the Torah was to make Esav the most evil man of his time and the father of future evil? It is true that the Torah introduces Yaakov and Esav as the fathers of two nations. In Genesis 25:23, God tells Rebekah, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples will depart from your innards, and 1 nation shall grow stronger than the other nation, and the elder shall serve the younger. This is the beginning of Yaakov and Esav, two men who are destined to be representatives of their peoples. As we saw earlier, the rabbis, the descendants of Yaakov, who was later named Israel, paint Yaakov in a favorable light, the hero, and Esau as the villain. The rabbis took this idea of these two figures being the representation of their peoples to an extreme. Esau, the father of Edom, became the representation of Rome and Christianity. But in the Torah, Esau is a person first and a father of a nation second. We know so much more about Esau from the Bible than we do about his uncle Ishmael. He was a man of the outdoors who loved hunting. He loved his father deeply. And we know what he looked like. He was a hairy and red man. Esau speaks, he acts, and most importantly, he changes. After Esau finds out that Yaakov took his blessing, he looks to himself to ask, why has this happened to me? Esau marries Hittite women, which upsets his parents. But later on, he tries to appease his father by marrying an Ishmaelite woman. Perhaps he thought that his choice in marriage was why he did not receive a blessing. Alas, it made no difference. At the end of our Torah reading, Esau promises to kill Yaakov. But when they reconnect later in the story, he forgives him. Esau is not simple. He is complex. He is a developed character. The Torah itself is not interested in making these figures black and white. Rather, we see Yaakov and Esau not as hero or as villain, but as complex characters that grow and develop within the story. You may ask, where's the harm in making villains and caricatures? Unfortunately, we have lived the consequences of being made villains and caricatures more than any other.